Hi guys, welcome back to the GOLANG restaurant management project series. And in this video, we're going to try and complete our sign up function and hopefully our login function as well. So for the sign up function, I have written some pseudocode in the last video. And also the sign up function, the same one we have also built in the JWT GOLANG authentication project series. So I will explain as I go along, but I won't explain a lot, right? So to get started, we'll write some basically we're just writing this line. Actually, I'll just copy and paste this, right? Just copy and paste this line here, the context line. And then we're defining a variable called user, which is of type models dot user. So now you have something to begin with. And now we'll write this whole part where converting the JSON data coming from Postman, something that GOLANG understands. How to do that? You say bind JSON ampersand user error not equal to nil. Sort of plus this is equal to sign here. And here I'll also check for the error. Then you'll say c.json http dot status bad request, not bad gateway, it's bad request actually, comma gen.h error dot error. Okay, so you'll convert that into the JSON into something that based on the user struct, and if there's an error you'll return the error. Now let's validate it. So to validate it, you'll say validate dot struct user validation error, and we'll check for the validation error as well. So we'll say if validation error not equal to nil. I know what's wrong with my keyboard. Okay, so here you'll say c.json http dot status bad request gen.h, same thing basically, error, and we'll say validation error dot error. All right, and we'll return from here if there's an issue. Similarly here as well we had to write return, so we'll return from here as well. So now you'll check if this email has already been used. So how do you do that? So you'll say user collection that you've already defined on top. So user collection dot count documents, so ctx comma json.m. I apologize if you're hearing some background noise. There's some work going on at my house. It's there's some people who are helping us clean. So user collection dot count documents count comma error. So basically what you're doing is in the user collection in the database, you're counting the documents which have that email that the user has sent, right? The user email. And again, there's some issue here with, I don't know, the double brackets, so it shouldn't be there. So remove those double brackets. Now everything looks okay. Okay. And you'll say defer cancel, and we'll check for the error here itself. So if error is there, then you'll say log.panic error c.json http.status internal server error comma gen.h error occurred while checking for the mail. All right, and obviously you have to return from this function. Then let's write some code to hash the password. The hash password function is below, so we're just going to call that function here. The logic of that function will be in that function itself. So here you'll have hash password star user dot password and user dot password is equal to ampersand password. Now you will check for the phone number. So how do you do that? Very similar to the email one, actually. So what you'll do is you'll say count comma error is equal to user collection. Even if you actually want to copy this, you can copy it, right? It's the same thing that I'm typing essentially. So it's count documents cdx comma bson dot m phone user dot phone, and you'll defer cancel. You'll handle the error in the exact same way. So it's log.panic c.json http status. Actually, if you've done the JWT authentication project series with me, you can copy and paste the code here directly. It's the exact same code, right? But if you've not done that, then you can obviously watch this video and code along with me. So you'll say error occurred while checking for the phone number. Return. Cool. And now there's one more thing you have to do. So you got the count from here, or you got the count from here, right? But now you have to use that count. So how do you use that count? So you'll say if count greater than 0, so the count is greater than 0. What you want to do is you want to say c.json and http dot status internal server error comma gen.h this email or phone number sorry, there's something wrong with my keyboard, man, already exists. I'm so used to the laptop keyboard that the mechanical keyboard, I miss a lot of characters sometimes. Anyhow, so what we're doing here is we're counting our database to see if any records for that email and phone number exist. And if they do exist, then you will just send this error that, hey, somebody has already used that phone number and email to sign up, so you can't use it. And now we'll create some extra details, right? So by extra details, I mean things like user dot created at, user dot updated at, and user dot id, user dot user underscore id. So for this, we have done this 100 times before, right? The timestamps, these are your standard timestamps. So you can either copy and paste it from the, if you've done the GOLANG JWT authentication tutorial, you can copy and paste from there, or you can just type it here. So if you're not comfortable, many people are not comfortable typing this whole thing out, so it's recommended to just copy and paste in case you don't want to type this whole thing out. So here it's RFC 3339. Okay, so it's basically time.parse, time.rfc3339, time.now.format, time.rfc3339. All this is doing is just putting timestamp for right now, right? That's all it's doing. So you can either type the whole thing, or you can just copy and paste, like I'm going to do right now. Just copy and paste. Right. For the ID, you'll say primitive dot new object ID, and here you'll say user.id.hex. Now you want to generate tokens and refresh tokens. So you want to call this function called helper.generate all tokens, because that's what the function is going to be called, right? Generate all tokens. And that function is going to take user.email. It's going to take user.first name, because as you know, for creating the JWT token, you need these details. As you can add as many details as you want, but These are at least the basic details that we should have in our token. So user.user_ID. So with the help of this, it will generate token and refresh token. So you'll say token, comma, refresh token, comma, blank character and Walters. So helper.generate tokens. And now you'll set the token. So you'll say user.token is equal to ampersand token. You'll set your token for the user object, and you'll set the refresh token for the user object as well. So you'll say refresh token is equal to ampersand refresh token. Now we want to insert into user into the user collection. So you'll say user collection dot insert one, pass context, comma, user. And again, there's some issue. I keep getting these double brackets. I don't want them. And what you get back from this is result insertion number, and otherwise you'll get an insert error. So now you want to handle the insert error. So if insert error is not equal to nil, you want to say printf user item was not created. So this is the message that you have created, and now you want to just send out that message. So you'll say c.json http.status internal server error, comma gen .h error, and for the error you'll send the message that you just created here using sprintf to format your string, and you'll return from here. And you'll also say defer cancel, but if everything went well, you want to return status okay. So you'll say c.json http.status okay, comma, result insertion number. So now there are two squiggly lines that we have. One is for primitive, the other is for generate all tokens. So that means you'll have to import the primitive package. So you'll come here and you'll say go.mongodb.org/mongodriver/bison/primitive. So that should take care of our problem with the primitive. There's still some issue with helper, right? Even though we have imported the helper, we're still having issues with it. I'm not sure why. Because we have generate all tokens function. Let me just copy and paste just to make sure the name is correct or I have not made any spelling mistakes. As you know, I have not used extensions a lot. So this GOLANG extension is giving me an error here. That means I think that it's because we have not completed this function in our helper. So what we'll do is we'll wait till we complete this function here. And then if it still gives error here, then we'll come back and see what's the issue. So till then, let's just work on our login function quickly. So to start with the login function, all you need to do is you need to first start and copy these two lines quickly in the beginning, right? And then you need one more variable called found user, and this is of type models.user. Now you want to convert the login data from Postman into JSON. How do you do that? The faster way is just to copy and paste from your signup function. It's the same thing, exactly the same thing. And then you want to find a user for that email, right? Drink some water. So you need to find a user with that email and see if that user even exists or not. Only then you can log him in, right? So here you'll say user collection, and you'll run a function called find1 ctx bson.m, and you'll say email is user.email, and then you'll decode it based on found user, which, as you know, found user is a variable that we've just defined. It's of type struct user. And here we'll handle the error also. If error not equal to nil, we'll say c.json http dot status internal server error comma gen.h error. So the error in this case is that user not found. Login seems to be incorrect. You can write whatever you want, but this seems to me as the as more accurate of an error. So you'll return from this function, and then you also want to verify the password. So to verify, you'll say, is the password valid? So it's a password is valid, comma msg verify password ampersand user dot password, comma, again just created these double brackets. I'm not sure why it's happening. Found user dot password, and then you'll defer cancel if password is valid, not true. So that means this password is not valid. You will return the status internal server error, comma gen dot h error message return. So you'll generate the tokens again if all goes well. So you'll say helper dot generate all tokens, and you'll capture that in the token and refresh token. And to generate the token, you need to have email found user dot first name and last name. And then you need the ID of the user. So this will help you generate token and refresh token. And what you'll do is you'll update all the tokens. So you'll say helper dot update all tokens, token, comma, refresh token, comma, found user dot user underscore ID. And you'll return status okay. So you'll say c.json http dot status okay, comma, found user. All right. So now coming to our hash password and verify password, they're quite straightforward. Hash password just doesn't do much, just uses the Bcrypt library and generate from password, It's quite possible that you've already used the Bcrypt library a lot of times. If you haven't, do check out the documentation. It just helps you create a hash. That's all it does. So if you've used Node.js already, you probably already know about this library. That's very, very commonly used. If error is not equal to nil, log.panic error. And all it done is return string with bytes. So that's your hash password. Use the Bcrypt package to create hash from the password. And now to verify your password, you want to return true or false. Again, we'll use the Bcrypt package. And as you can see already, it's given me this suggestion: compare hash and password. So whenever you store password in your database, I mean, I'm sure you already know this, but I just want to tell it to people who probably don't know. Right? So you don't store your password just as it is, right? You want to always hash your password and store it in your database. And this is why you need this function, which whenever somebody sends their password from Postman, you want to run it through this kind of function, because only the Bcrypt library would know the hash and will be able to compare it with the password and tell you if your password is correct or not. So you don't want to store your password just as is into the database, because it can easily get hacked, right? So you always want to hash all of the passwords. So if error not equal to nil, printf login or password is incorrect. Check is equal to false, and you want to return check and the message. Return check and the message. And now when you actually check out your function that we've used here, password is valid and message. So message was basically your error message, and password is valid is your boolean, right? So if password is valid is false, then you return the error message, and the error message in this case being login or password is incorrect. I hope that makes sense. Here it's giving me a squiggly line here because the spelling is incorrect for provided password. So once I do that, the squiggly lines here, at least they go away. And now mostly the issues that I can see are around that helper thing, right? We have done quite a bit, and most of the errors that we're getting are around the helper package. So in the next video, we're going to work on our token helper file, and then hopefully that should take care of everything. If it doesn't, then we'll just take a deep dive into why the errors are coming, and then we'll try and fix them. So until then, thanks a lot for watching. Do subscribe to this channel because we come up with awesome content like this. And I also plan to cover a lot of blockchain and NFT in the near future. So if you're into all that, you must definitely subscribe. All right. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.